Weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't fix America's debt by starving its people.
Have your say.
One shooting after another, and we're doing nothing to solve it?
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Welcome to the Scoreboard here on WSIC. Today is going to be a day. I'll tell you what, an hour ago, NASCAR dropping a bombshell on their media rights for the 2024 season. I'm sorry, 2025 season. This is massive news, and, I'm trying to sort through it and understand exactly what this means for the sport, but we're going to get to that. I know. I'm teasing just a little bit, but this is a big one. You're going to want to stick around for this. If you care about NASCAR at all, this is changes to the media rights coming in the 2025 season. So we'll make sure we touch on that. It's huge news. Also, college football, the playoff rankings are out. Surprise, surprise. I'm surprised. We'll talk about that. And also, we had some high school basketball last night. Always talking about that in the first segment of the show. And then, there's news galore today. Possible Shohei Ohtani signing next week is to be expected. You got Aaron Rodgers practicing again. There is a lot going on today. So without any more delays, we're going to get right on into this. We had some high school basketball last night. Mooresville High School played Northwest Cabarrus in their home stadium. And, I'm on Max Preps looking at the scores, trying to get some interesting stats for you guys. And nobody has reported the score for this game. It took place yesterday. If anybody knows, call in and break the news live. 704-873-1400. I didn't even get to my intro. I'm like so far ahead of myself trying to read this NASCAR media right deal. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, WSICnews.com, and you can call in 704-873-1400 with anything you have that you'd like to bring to the table. Okay, anyway, back to Mooresville High School. I don't know if they won or lost. Nobody has reported the score, so, help me out if you can. We're going to move on, though, to some games that we do have the final scores of, starting with Lake Norman. They played Mount Tabor yesterday at home, squeaking out a win in that one. Final score, 46-40. Lake Norman, 5-0 start to the year. They had a great start to their football season. Unfortunately, came up short in the playoffs, and now they're having a great start to the basketball season, undefeated to start the year. Their next game is not until December 1st, so we will look forward to that one. Also yesterday, West Iredell played. They were on the road against Wilkes Central, and they dropped that one. Final score, 71-61. Tough start to the season for West Iredell. 0-2 right now. North Iredell also had a game last night. After splitting their first two games of the season, they dropped their third game, 67-47, a little bit of a blowout there. 1-2 on the year. Their next game on the 1st of December also against Surrey, East Surrey, that is. They have two home games before they go back on the road. So a little bit of a homestand here for them. Maybe get a couple of wins under their belt in their home stadium, change things up a little bit and feel better, heading through the rest of the season. And also South Iredell basketball. Man, oh man, they played last night and they also lost. Tough start to the year for a lot of these teams up in the more northern Iredell area. 0-2 to start the year after losing on the road to Bandy School, 68-44. their next game is on the 1st, and they play West Iredell. So South Iredell, West Iredell will be going head-to-head at the end of the week here. We will look forward to that, and we'll look forward to all the things going on in the high school sports realm. It's a good time of the year. Regional Final Four for high school football on Friday. That's going to be fun. You got basketball in full swing now. These team seasons are well underway. And not only that, we have the winter meetings, which I told you about yesterday. Those were taking place today and tomorrow. So no news for you right now. We'll see what happens tomorrow at the end of the day, and then we'll gather all that. And if there's anything newsworthy, we'll make sure to bring it to you right here on the Scoreboard. We're going to cut the local talk early today. I know, I'm sorry, but we have so many things to get to, and I have so many feelings right now that I'm feeling in my soul. I need to get to all of this today. First of all, we're going to start with the college scene. College football, the college football playoff rankings came out yesterday, and I had told you my prediction for the top 4, or the top 5, 6, I said, was going to be Georgia, Michigan, Washington, Oregon, Florida State, Ohio State. Well, I was close, and, credit where credit is due. Good job to the college football committee. I know I don't say that a lot, but round of applause to you guys. You didn't drop Florida State for no reason. That's all we can ask. Florida State won their game. They're still missing their starting quarterback. His college career is over, but they didn't drop Florida State for no reason again, which, man, punishing the rest of the team for one injury, you already know how I feel about that. I'm not going to get too much into that because, well, we've talked about it a lot. You know my feelings. And it's going to slowly but surely it's going to change. And eventually we're going to have a system where hopefully there's no human input whatsoever. There's no committee of people saying, yeah, but they lost to this team by a large margin, or they beat this team by a large margin, but they barely squeaked out a win here. So let's switch the rankings up. I can't wait for that to never be a thing again. So right now, here is how it shakes down in the college football playoff ranking. Georgia, they hold on to the number 1 seed. Michigan, after beating Ohio State, jumps up to 2. Washington beat Washington State barely. This is one of those barely wins. They move up to 3, and Florida State taking care of business against Florida. They are back in the top 4 as the 4 seed. And then 1 spot out is Oregon, and right behind them at 6, Ohio State. And the movement isn't done just yet. There are a few scenarios here for other teams to get in, and it's going to be an interesting week of college football with not everybody playing and some of these games being a little bit more competitive than others, but we will talk a little bit about this on the other side of the break. We are already at the end of segment number 1. Today is going to fly by, and I have a lot of information to get to today. So stay sharp on your toes, or on your ears, if you will, and get all this information because there's a lot of it. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to continue to talk about college football. Then we'll probably turn our attention to the NBA world for a little bit as the in-season tournament group play wraps up. So stay tuned. We're back after this.
There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. The Docksiders, performing at Kane Center for the Arts on Saturday, December 9th, are almost sold out. The Docksiders will take you back to the year 1981. Their unique and electric tribute act of yacht rock features songs from Hall & Oates, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins, and more. The Docksiders, Saturday, December 9th at Kane Center for the Arts. To purchase your tickets, visit kanearts.org. Community Singers of Lake Norman are performing again Christmas style. December 3rd in Mooresville, December 5th in Huntersville, and December 11th in Cornelius, each evening at a different church. Community Singers of Lake Norman. For more info, visit lakenormansings.com. The Community Singers of Lake Norman, lakenormansings.com. Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back! Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The Infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Santa is here! Schedule your time to take pictures between now and Christmas Eve in Birkdale. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Enjoy some time with Santa and the Winter Wonderland experience. A classic Christmas in Mooresville, Friday, December 8th. For more info, visit mooresvillenc150.com. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Well, it's going to be another chilly night tonight. We'll be below freezing. Your overnight low is 26 degrees with mostly clear skies. Thursday is going to be another sunny day, and we should warm up a lot better than the last few days. We'll have a high temperature in the afternoon of 56 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
The Ugly Antenna has now become a household name in this area. The Ugly Antenna allows those without a streaming provider to receive up to 50 channels absolutely free of charge, including Fox 46.1. The Ugly Antenna is small and connects directly to your TV. Get the Ugly Antenna for just $40. Call 704-682-1755. That's 704-682-1755 for the Ugly Antenna.
Now, more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, we are back here on the Scoreboard. Oh, gosh. I'm reading this release from NASCAR, and I know I keep talking about it. We're going to get to it, I promise. But man, the state of NASCAR right now, it is changing. I don't know who saw this coming. I didn't see this coming. Let's keep talking about college football, though, because the college football scene right now is up in the air, I guess is the best way to say it. Here are the games coming up this weekend. You have number 5 Oregon playing number 3 Washington. That game's on a Friday night. Okay, cool. Friday night. I don't know why, but it's on a Friday night. You have number 7 Texas taking on Oklahoma State. Number 1 Georgia against number 8 Alabama. These are the championship games. So obviously Pac-12 with Oregon and Washington. The Big 12, Oklahoma State and Texas. SEC, Alabama, Georgia. The AAC, the American Athletic Championship, SMU and Tulane. The Big 10 Championship at 8 o'clock, that's number 2 Michigan and number 16 Iowa. And then the ACC Championship, Louisville and Florida State. That is a 14 against a 4. There's a lot that can happen this weekend. So I guess the best thing is to not play right now. You're Ohio State. You're sitting at 6th in the rankings. More than likely, the loser of Oregon and Washington gets knocked out of the playoff contention, because I don't see any way where if Washington loses, they only drop to 4. Don't see that happening. And then you have Georgia and Alabama. Who knows? Alabama could give a loss to Georgia in the championship game, and do we see a shuffle? Michigan taking on Iowa. The thing about Iowa is they have one of the historically worst offenses to ever take the field in college football, but their defense is just incredible. And then you have the number 4 seed Florida State taking on Louisville. These are all games where teams can possibly get knocked out of the playoffs. And I really think that the best possible thing for you right now is to not be playing like Ohio State. Do we see 2 upsets coming here? Are 2 teams going to get knocked out of the top 4? Something wild is going to happen on Friday night with Oregon and Washington. I know I said last week that I'd love for the committee to find a way to put both of those teams in there. It's just not going to happen. Logically, the way that they work, the way that the college football playoff rankings work, logically, it's not going to happen. If Alabama beats Georgia, how far up do they go? There's a lot up in the air. And this is one of the things that makes me just shake with anger when it comes to the rankings in college football, is it's all human input. Yeah, there's a little bit of, I guess, like formula to it. There's a little bit of a formula to it. You got to be good. You got to be winning your games. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to choosing between 2 undefeated teams, who's going to be in, who's going to be out, it's human input. I don't want to rant too much on college football because we do have a lot of time to talk about the upcoming games. I'm going to push the NBA talk. I got to get to this NASCAR stuff. This is insanity. All right. So Bob Pockris with Fox Sports said there was a media partners news conference at 5 o'clock today. And at that news conference, NASCAR announced this. These are your 2025 to 2031 TV deals in NASCAR. Hold on to something. Sit down if you're not sitting. I'm going to stand up. I need the energy. Cup Series. Fox and Fox FS1, they have the first 14 races of the year. The next 5 races go to Amazon Prime. I'm going to say that one more time. The next 5 races after Fox's stint are on Amazon Prime. Then after those 5 races are over, we have another 5-race set of another media partner. TNT is getting some races back. How about that? We haven't had TNT NASCAR in quite some time. They have the next 5 races after that. And then we end the season on NBC the way we have. They have the final 14 races of the year. Now, something to note here. The All-Star race is staying with Fox. That means the All-Star race is going to be moved up in the schedule, higher in the order. And Fox also does the Coke 600. That's like their claim. They have the Daytona 500 and the Coke 600. Those are their 2 big races. Are they going to lose the 600? Does the 600 get moved? Because historically, forever, the All-Star race has been the week before the 600. And the 600 takes place Memorial Day. Memorial Day weekend, I should say. Are they going to move it? Is Fox going to lose the Coke 600? Is the 600 going to go to Amazon? Here's my other question. With these Amazon races, we know how Amazon is with their media deals. It is theirs. They own it. They basically told the NFL, we're paying for this many weeks. We're going to have a game this week, talking about the week of Thanksgiving. Don't put it on Thursday. Put it on a Friday. My question with this is, what happens to the radio broadcasts? Do MRN, PRN, are they still going to have the rights to broadcast the Amazon races? I would assume so because it's a completely different media. But Amazon, they might be a little tug and pull on that one and say, hey, this is exclusively ours. And then we go to TNT. We know how TNT is. They're on TV. But Amazon is getting 5 NASCAR Cup Series races. Not next year. The next year's schedule is already set. We don't have to worry about that. But 2025, I'm sorry to tell you this, but if you want to watch Thursday Night Football and NASCAR, you have to have Amazon Prime. This is where we're going. We're going towards streaming. Slowly but surely, we're making our way to streaming. Even with NBC, they're airing their races on Peacock also. IndyCar, some of the races are exclusively on Peacock. Here's some other news with this. The Xfinity Series. Every single race, including practice and qualifying, will be on the CW. No longer on Fox or NBC. It's the CW has exclusive rights to every Xfinity race. And then Fox, the Truck Series, they stay with Fox FS1 completely. What a bomb to drop. This is insane. I mean, okay. We needed a change somehow. Now, I'm not saying that I don't like Fox's broadcast. I'm not saying I don't like NBC's broadcast. Currently, I prefer the NBC one, but that's because the Fox one, it feels stale, Mike Joy, he doesn't have the same energy. Clint Boyer has no energy ever in the booth. I mean, there was a big wreck in the Daytona 500 on the final lap, and his reaction was, and they wrecked. That was it. Dang it. He says that all the time when somebody crashes. I don't get it. But we needed some kind of change. We needed to bring some kind of new life into the booth of NASCAR. I don't know if Amazon was the right way to go. We've been talking about it with the NFL. Solely broadcast. This is going to happen in 2025. You're going to turn on your TV on a Sunday, and you're going to go to Fox, and you're going to be like, wait a second, the race isn't on Fox this week. Then you're going to go to USA or NBC, whichever one it is, whichever one it'll be on. You'll say, all right, there's no race here. Then you'll go to TNT, and, oh, wait, where is the NASCAR race? Then it'll finally click. You got to pay for Amazon Prime to watch NASCAR. I don't like it. I mean, I think I'm being pretty adamant about not liking the streaming and not liking streaming in general. There's a delay. The delay in streaming is bad because for some people like myself who have notifications on their phone for sporting events, sometimes the notification comes through before I see it happen on my stream. That's what happens with these streaming services. They're a lot farther behind than cable TV, direct TV, whatever you want to call it. I know that's not a huge deal to most people. It's slightly nitpicky there, but man, we got 5 races on Amazon in for years. This isn't a trial run. They said, yeah, we're going to do this 2025 to 2031. It's all going to be streaming those 5 races on Amazon. I'm going to continue to talk about this because there's a lot to unpack here. But stay with me. You're listening to the Scoreboard on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. We will be back. We will continue the NASCAR talk, and we'll do that right after this.
More of The Scoreboard with Joe Berg is coming up on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Get into Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville.
Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville. We've got the power buys, including a 2022 Chevrolet work truck. That's the long bed, record cab, two-wheel drive V8 engine. These trucks range anywhere from 8,000 miles up to 15,000 miles. How much? $23,988. $23,988. Huge selection. Randy Marion Chevrolet Estates will come see us today. Right on Gaither Road. Look for the spinning car, folks, because that is where the deals are.
King of Price, RandyMarionStatesville.com.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Well, it's going to be another chilly night tonight. We'll be below freezing. Your overnight low is 26 degrees with mostly clear skies. Thursday is going to be another sunny day, and we should warm up a lot better than the last few days. We'll have a high temperature in the afternoon of 56 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Here's a Wisdom Hour nugget. Jesus said, "Beware false prophets. A prophet is anyone that speaks the word of God. A false prophet will tell you that the commandments are done away with. Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments." It's obvious God does not want us to kill, steal, covet, commit adultery, dishonor your parents. All those are in the commandments. The only commandment they want to do away with is the one that starts with the word remember. If they can do away with it, it justifies them breaking it every week. In the new covenant, it's the same law, just written on our hearts. Jesus said he did not come to change even a decimal point in the law. Don't let preachers lead you astray. Stand on the Word of God. If there is no law, there is no sin. If there is no sin, there's no need to be forgiven. There's no need for a Savior. Jesus did not die so we could sin. He went to the cross so we could have a way out. You've been listening to a Wisdom Hour.
Interested in coaching? The Statesville Family YMCA is always in need of volunteer coaches. There are kids out there who depend on the YMCA to keep them on the right track. Email us at ymcasports@ymcanwnc.org to learn how you can coach basketball this winter. That email again is ymcasports@ymcanwnc.org.
In today's world, hard workers are hard to come by. But luckily, for the ones around here, Nelson Royals Work and Western Wear has you covered. From head to toe, trusted brands like Ariat, Durango, Wrangler, Carhartt, and more. Nelson Royals Work and Western Wear has been helping the hard workers of Mooresville since 1967. Stop by Nelson Royals today. In the heart of Mooresville, Highway 150, just look for the Giant Horse or browse the full inventory at nelsonroyals.com.
At 1-10 and down to their final 6 games of the season, the Panthers still searching for some of the same answers they began the season with. I'm Jim Zoki with a Panthers update after this.
The only way to be your best self is with your best health. When you have a health partner who doesn't just treat part of you, they care for all of you. That's why more people prefer Atrium Health, because unrivaled care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before, so that you can enjoy more of the moments you love. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully with Atrium Health.
Since their one victory of the season over Houston at the end of October, the Panthers have dropped 4 more games in a row to fall to 1-10 overall. Most recently at Tennessee, as Carolina has now scored 15 or fewer points in 6 consecutive games. Wide receiver Adam Thielen was held to 1 catch for 2 yards against the Titans and says that's not the way they thought this would play out.
Yeah, I mean, you even go back to, after losing the first couple games, you say, all right, well, you look at the games on our schedule and we can win them. Yeah, you can win them, but every team's saying that, right? You look at it's the NFL. It's a week-to-week league. Feel like you can win every game. Our defense has played great and special teams have put us in positions to go and beat some of these teams. And then, it's frustrating.
On top of their struggles to win, injuries continue to mount, especially for the offensive line and defensive secondary. Defensive end Brian Burns on working with what they have.
It's a weird year, man. Out of the years I've been in the league, this is the craziest year by far as injuries. And, the type of injuries that we've had. So, it's difficult at times. But like I said, this league is all about next man up. So got to encourage your guys after them to pick up that slack.
I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All All right, let's get right back into it here. You're listening to the Scoreboard on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. Call in, hot topic of the day, the NASCAR media rights for 2025. I want to hear your opinions. I better hear this phone ringing. I better see something lighting up. 704-873-1400. I'm a little bit heated right now. Not too heated, but we'll see where the rest of this conversation leads us. But the NASCAR deal for their media rights for 2025 are as followed. Cup Series, it's a mess. It's all over the place. You're not going to know where the race is. I'm just telling you right now. First 14 races of the year are going to be on Fox or Fox Sports 1. Then the next 5 races are on Amazon Prime. Then the next 5 races are on TNT. And then the final 14 races are on NBC or USA. Bad part about this. Fox proper, NBC proper, total of 9 races this year. 9 on their true channels. The other races, between those two, I'm not counting Amazon, I'm not counting TNT right now. They're a little bit different. Races on either their secondary channels, which for Fox is Fox Sports 1, for NBC, it's no longer NBC Sports, it's USA Network. 19 races combined between those two on those networks. Buried the way they normally are, but buried even more now. I guess the only positive to this is that in the summer when we're going to have NASCAR on Prime, it will be like the only thing going on. It'll be on Prime and you'll know where it is. And I'm trying to think of the positives here. We see the ratings. We see the ratings with Thursday Night Football. Not the best. Normal networks get much higher rating. And this is, it was going to be known. There's going to be a drop-off. Now NASCAR has to deal with a potential drop-off in viewership because they are moving to streaming for a little bit of their race season. But hey, guess what? The ratings are going to drop. It's going to happen. And NASCAR cannot afford that. So here we are, changing media rights in 2020. I'm telling you, 2024 better be the best NASCAR season of all time. That way we get some interest going. So when they do make that move to Prime, it doesn't blow up in their face. It probably will. Oh, man. TNT has races. At least TNT is like TNT. It's one thing. It's not like Fox or Fox Sports 1, USA or Peacock or NBC. There's a lot of other things going on in the sports world right now. And this one just has me questioning so much. I don't know who the decision makers in NASCAR are, but I really hope they're smarter than me because the way I see this, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. We're not ready for it. NASCAR's not ready for it. I want to know what the demographic... I didn't look this up because it's just now coming to my head. What's the demographic for people who watch NASCAR? My guess is it's a lot of people who are over the age of 40. And now you're going to ask them to go to a streaming service if they can figure out how to get to it? Bad decision. Bad decision. And they are locked into this TV deal. There's nothing they can do about it. Through the year 2031. It's a lot of races on Amazon. It's a lot of races that aren't going to be watched. And that's what it boils down to. If you have an opinion on this, 704-873-1400. I've given you my spiel. I'm done. I want to move on because, man, NASCAR just bothering me right now. There was an announcement. RFK Racing is going to field a third car for the Daytona 500. The driver for that car is going to be David Reagan. There was a lot of rumors saying that it might be Carl Edwards, considering it's the 60 car. He drove the 60 car in the Xfinity Series. I wish. I know a lot of people hope and are still clinging on to can Carl Edwards please come back? But it's not going to happen. All right, let's move on. Let's get this. NFL, football, we have some news. Aaron Rodgers has been cleared to practice. It's a joke. He has been cleared to practice. He tore his Achilles 70 days ago. And he's already practicing. I don't get it. I mean, I know people like to clown on Aaron Rodgers, mainly because of things that happened from the year 2020 on, when it comes to getting vaccinated as the requirement that the NFL had during the 2020 season. And he didn't say he was vaccinated. He said he was immunized. And then you have him going into the dark place for a week and coming out saying, I'm going to play for the Jets. And now alternative medicine with a torn Achilles. He said he opted for a different surgery and he's supposed to have better recovery. And people don't like it, but I mean, hey, it's working. This man is out throwing passes, moving around with the Jets right now. And it's good, just in time, too. Looking at the standings, Jets are in a little bit of trouble. They sit at 4-7 right now. And the AFC is just so competitive. They're going to have to win these games without Rodgers. Right now, the best they can do is 10-7. I don't think they're going to get to 10-7. And they have so many teams ahead of them. I mean, right now, Jets are the next to last team in the AFC. It sounds weird to say, but they are. 4-7. Tim Boyle, the quarterback. Quarterback Tim Boyle. We'll see what happens there. I just think this is insane. How is Aaron Rodgers coming back right now? We watched if you saw the video, you watched his Achilles roll up into his calf. Ugh. And here he is, not even the turn of a calendar year. You know, we're still in 2023. And this man is back on the practice field. He has 21 days to return. He's aiming for a game in December against the Washington Commanders for his potential return. I think that would give him 3 games. Will it be enough to make a playoff run? I don't think so, unfortunately. Now, with that being said, you might think that Aaron Rodgers would say, okay, we're 4-7. There's really no hope for us making the playoffs. Why don't I just sit out the rest of the year, really recover, and come back strong next year? It feels like the logical thing to do. I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to do that because, well, he absolutely loves himself, right? I mean, I think he does. It seems that way. So he'll want to play, and I get it. You know, all these players, they want to play. They don't want to sit out. But Rodgers is going to come back, and you know he's going to have that smirk on his face, and he's going to have some quote with the media that's going to be taken out of context, and absolutely, you know, just divide people. But I would have said, you know what? Stay out. Don't come back. We're not making the playoffs this year. Things are looking bleak. Get healthy. Come back next year when we are healthy and start the season here and make a run at it. But no, he's going to try and come back this year. I don't think the Jets are going to make the playoffs. I don't think it matters whether or not Rodgers plays or not. They've dug too far of a hole. And Zach Wilson, not that guy. And the Jets have figured this out now, which is why they went with Tim Boyle. One more segment to go on the other side of the break. We're going to try to touch on some NBA action because the in-season tournament group play is over. We have a tournament. We have a knockout round to go through. So we'll see if we have time for that. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Scoreboard on WSIC. We're back after this.
There's more of the Scoreboard with Joe Berg on the way on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. The Docksiders, performing at Kane Center for the Arts on Saturday, December 9th, are almost sold out. The Docksiders will take you back to the year 1981. Their unique and electric tribute act of yacht rock features songs from Hall & Oates, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins, and more. The Docksiders, Saturday, December 9th at Kane Center for the Arts. To purchase your tickets, visit kanearts.org. Community singers of Lake Norman are performing again Christmas style. December 3rd in Mooresville, December 5th in Huntersville, and December 11th in Cornelius, each evening at a different church. Community Singers of Lake Norman. For more info, visit lakenormansings.com. The Community Singers of Lake Norman, lakenormansings.com. Want to see more than 5 million Christmas lights at one time? Speedway Christmas is back! Happening daily, the amazing Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway is happening now through January 7th. The show is open 6 to 10 p.m., rain or shine. The Infield Christmas Village is open Thursday through Sunday nights. Speedway Christmas at Charlotte Motor Speedway, now through January 7th. For tickets, visit charlottemotorspeedway.com. Santa is here! Schedule your time to take pictures between now and Christmas Eve in Birkdale. For more info and to schedule your time with Santa, visit birkdalevillage.com. Enjoy some time with Santa and the Winter Wonderland experience, a classic Christmas in Mooresville, Friday, December 8th. For more info, visit mooresvillenc150.com. Have an event you would like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
And now for a look at your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. Well, it's going to be another chilly night tonight. We'll be below freezing. Your overnight low is 26 degrees with mostly clear skies. Thursday is going to be another sunny day, and we should warm up a lot better than the last few days. We'll have a high temperature in the afternoon of 56 degrees. This has been your weather forecast from the WSIC Weather Center.
Listen up, Carolinas. It's the Better Than Black Friday sales event at Lake Norman Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram with employee pricing on nearly every new 2023 vehicle in stock. We've got the best selection anywhere and guarantee to beat any deal in the nation. I-77 exit 28, LakeNormanChrysler.com.
Be a part of the conversation.
I listen on the way to work.
Have your say.
It's more than just opinions, it's facts.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
The Scoreboard with Joe Berg continues now on the new 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Here we are, final segment today on the Scoreboard. WSIC 105.9 100.7 FM. Call in 704-873-1400 if you have something you'd like to talk about. We had quite a bit going on today. We don't even have to recap it. If you missed any of the show, go back and watch it on our social pages. That's where you can get all of the Scoreboard shows. So the NBA has their in-season tournament, and I told you yesterday that it was really looking impossible for the Hornets to make it. Considering they played the Knicks and lost, it was impossible. They did not make it to the knockout stage, but we move on, and the rest of the league has some games to play. So here we go. The West quarterfinals. We're going to start with the West, then we'll come back to the East. The number 1 seed is the Lakers. The number 4 seed is the Suns. 2 seed are the Kings. And the 3 seed, the Pelicans. Those teams will square off against each other starting December 4th and 5th. Then on the East, you have the Milwaukee Bucks as the 1 seed, taking on the 4 seed New York Knicks. How about that? And the 2 seed Pacers taking on the 3 seed Celtics. So a couple of surprises there. The Pelicans doing pretty good in the in-season tournament, as well as the Knicks and Pacers. The Knicks 5th in the league, so it's not a crazy surprise, and the Pacers are 6th in the league. So this, it's a little bit understandable for these teams. And then you look at the West, and it's like the Kings are 6th in the standings. The Pelicans are 9th in the standings, but yet here they are in the in-season tournament with a chance to, I guess, get some hardware here. So game number 1 of the in-season tournament kicks off on, I guess I should say tips off, on December 7th, December 4th. Game number 1, 7:30. Game number 2, 10 o'clock. We'll start with the Pacers Celtics. Then we'll go to the Kings Pelicans. And then on the 5th, the Bucks take on the Knicks and the Lakers take on the Suns. I don't know if there's any interest in it, but here we are. We've made it to the knockout stage of the in-season tournament. The championships are played, and the semifinals are played in Las Vegas, while this first quarterfinal round is played in the home team's stadium. So Lakers, Bucks, Pacers, Kings, all home court advantage there. That's the tournament. That's it. We've made it to tournament. I don't know if this moves the needle at all. Do people care? Basketball is an interesting sport. Counting numbers are kind of important in basketball, but more importantly, it's who you're passing on all-time lists. I wonder if in an attempt to get more interest in the in-season tournament, the NBA looks to start doing all-time in-season tournament stats, like blocks, steals, rebounds, points, obviously, three-pointers, wins, things like that. Just so that we have like other counting stats to look at, because without that, the in-season tournament's just kind of a gimmick. It's something that the NBA threw into the middle of the season and said, here, have fun with this. Hopefully, it draws interest from the fans. And they did an okay job. The courts were interesting, although I don't think they all looked good. They tried to do something different, which you can give them some respect for that. But we will see what happens. And I'm assuming that the semifinals and finals for the in-season tournament are going to bring in at least a small number of ratings for the league, because you can't just sit there and say that this is not going to do anything. I mean, you slap playoffs onto something and then add semifinals and finals and champion. People are going to watch. There's something about that loser go home mantra that people respond to. And I mean, that's the whole basis of sports, right? The winners move on and win, and the losers go home. Doesn't happen in the regular season like that. You have an entire season to play, but this is a nice little distraction for these NBA teams. We'll continue to cover it once this starts in December, and I guess we'll see if people enjoy it. It is an experiment that the NBA is doing. It's the first time they've done this. We will have to wait, and I've said this a few times now, but we're going to have to wait until the very end of the NBA season, not the end of the in-season tournament, but the end of the NBA season, to see whether or not this is something that was successful, how to change on it for next year, because it doesn't feel like this is something that's going to go away. The commissioner brought in the play-in tournament, and that was a COVID policy that was adapted during the 2020 bubble season, but that stuck around. And now we have a new gimmick, the in-season tournament. There's no reason for me to believe Adam Silver would get rid of that. He just brought it in. He didn't get rid of the play-in tournament just because, right? So this is going to stick around for at least a few years. And we have to try to do something to improve it year after year. I don't know what they're going to decide on, but at the end of the season, we'll debrief on it too. We'll see what can be improved with not only the regular season of the NBA, but the in-season tournament. Look, I would love for the in-season tournament to be something completely separate from the regular season. And I would love it even more if they use that to experiment a little bit. change the game up a little. Do something because your game is stale. Maybe let the players be a little more physical on defense. Maybe add a 4-point line. Maybe just take away the 3-point line altogether. I think this is a good opportunity for them to experiment a little bit, but they might not want to do that with the eyes that they're trying to draw to this series. They might just want it to be basketball the way people know it. And I know they have the G League that they can experiment with those kind of things, but what better place to experiment with the pros, with the guys at the top of the top, than a tournament in the middle of the regular season that's completely separated from the regular season standings, and you can experiment, you can try different marketing techniques, I don't know, something. Because right now, the way it is, it's just a gimmick in the middle of the NBA season. But we'll see. Those were a couple of ideas that I was thinking of as this in-season tournament has gone along. You know, play around with it. Do something. Don't stick to what hasn't been working, because it hasn't. Your ratings have been dropping year after year after year. But enough on that. I want to talk a little bit about college basketball before we wrap things up here on this beautiful Wednesday. Kansas, the 1 seed, lost. They dropped their game, and now the new 1 seed in men's college basketball, Purdue, followed by Arizona, Marquette, and UConn. UConn broke a record of just dominating non-conference teams. They've won something like 26 in a row against non-conference teams. That's a record for them. Pretty cool. But as I talk about with college basketball, there's something. If anybody needed to find a middle of the season gimmick more than the NBA, it's the NCAA basketball tournament, because nobody cares until March Madness. And then you make your bracket, they make it the whole thing, and upsets. You can have a 1 seed lose to a 16 seed like we saw last year. Shout out Fairleigh Dickinson, yeah. But nobody cares. I mean, we'll pay attention, but are you really going to tune into this stuff? Now, maybe you're a hardcore basketball guy, you know, or a basketball girl, and you're a fan of just watching the game. Okay. Not many of you out there, especially in this area. Do we watch the Duke games in the regular season? Do you watch the North Carolina games? We're in the middle of football season. Not much time to watch anything other than that. Plus the NHL, the NBA. We wait till March, and in March you have the NCAA tournament. It is the most popular thing that basketball does in college, and they got to find something else, just like the NBA. And I don't think it has anything to do with basketball as a sport becoming stale. I think the MLB was the one who was in danger of that, but baseball seems to have turned things around after their rule changes last year. Maybe that's a little bit of a wake-up call to the NBA and say, hey, wait, and even college basketball. Say, wait a second, the NBA or the MLB changed their rules a little bit. They modified the game, they modernized it, and they saw success. Maybe we should think about changing the game a little bit. Maybe bring back contact for defensive players. Don't call everything a foul. And for the players, hey, how about you start playing a whole season? You know, that's just a side note that we don't have to get to today. Mostly because we're out of time. Thanks for sticking with me here today on the Scoreboard. I know there was a lot of information to digest. I know this NASCAR news is big, and we'll see what comes out of this. Maybe there's more news on it tomorrow. We'll see. But tomorrow we'll be able to preview some Thursday night football, and we will have a good time as always. Thanks for listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.